and gentlemen, to another episode of Lost in Time. I am Adam Ronan, and today we're going to take another look back at some of the fighting games from the 90s that you may have forgotten about. This time, we're going to start it off with Aurora. This game hit arcades in 1997 and was released by Hudson Soft. Originally called Beasterizer in the arcades, this game took the sound mechanics from many other fighting games of the era, but also added some pretty crazy things on top of them. The most notable was what the game called zoanthropy. Every character in this game was half human, half animal. You had characters that ranged from Greg the Gorilla to Baccario the Mole. What other fighting game can you think of that made your character turn into a mole? This game was a blast, and we enjoyed every hit, scratch, and kick of it. With a total of 5 releases across the years, there's plenty of blood to spill and animals to impersonate. But let's keep the blood train rolling with the next game. Bloodstorm was released in 1994 by Strata and Incredible Technologies. It's a quasi-sequel to Time Killers, a game we talked about previously in the last episode, and it took the themes of that game and made them much darker. It also had the mechanics of a few other non-fighting games. The one that stuck out to us was the fact that when you beat an opponent, you gained a passable power from the fighter you beat, not unlike the powers you get from the bosses in the Mega Man series. What we are left with is a fun, violent game that allowed you to play as characters from Hellhound, the fiercest fighter in all of the Scorch Army, to Blood, who was a literal walking puddle of blood with a giant mace. I don't think you can really go wrong there. But it's time to get freaky with Biofreaks. Biofreaks was released in 1998 by Midway, the same guys that brought you the wonder that is Mortal Kombat. However, with this particular title, they may have missed the mark. Biofreaks was a 3D fighting game where in the not too distant future, the US has fallen into ruin. Sound familiar? Bioengineering has run amok and left us with biological flying robotic enhanced armored killing synthoids, or better known as Biofreaks. This game could have been amazing. It took crazy biologically engineered humans and made them fight for control of the nation. It had a jetpack button, for crying out loud. Unfortunately, the prototype for the arcade was canceled and it never really saw a real arcade release. Midway released this game on the PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and PC. However, you can find a quasi-working arcade version of this at the Galloping Goat Arcade in Chicago, which we absolutely loved, but in our playtest with it, it didn't work quite well. But enough of that. I want you to name a game where you have to fight a T-Rex, a Sphinx, and a Harpy. And if you yelled Red Earth at your screen, well, you'd be correct. Red Earth, or Warzard in Japan, was released by Capcom in 1996. This game was a dream to play and is a personal favorite of our one and only Sasquatch. In Red Earth, you choose one of 4 characters: Leo, the king of Zavalia, Kenji the ninja, Tessa the sorceress, or Mai Ling the martial artist. Once you choose your hero, you would travel across the globe fighting bosses. This game was all about the boss fight, and every time you'd beat the game, it would restart and get even harder. It also included RPG elements such as gold, items, and leveling your character up. It even gave you a password so you could leave the arcade and come back to the same playthrough. This game was years ahead of its time. It plays well, the bosses are out of this world, and it keeps sucking you back in for more. And this is the only Capcom game of its time to not see a home release, and boy do we wish it did. It consumed Mr. Squatch till this very day, and maybe that's why no one ever sees Bigfoot. He's too busy fighting the giant Oni in Red Earth. I think that concludes this episode of Lost in Time, but I'm sure there are many more games you remember and didn't see on this list. If there is, drop those bad boys in the comments and you may see them in the next episode. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content, because you know the best place to find your source for geek is right here on Ronan24. And hey, while you're at it, why not check out the Ronan Patreon? Join the ranks of the other patrons there, and you too could be a Shogun one day in the meta game Ronan 24/7. So go ahead, join the community, play the game, be a part of the family, and we'll see you in the next video.